All right, so here's the story that the movie was based on, Heaven is Real.
Pastor's son claims he visited heaven.
I think so. I think this might be what the movie's about. Or maybe this is a different story.
It doesn't matter. It's still stupid either way.
I was heaven.
I've been here.
I don't think we've been here before, pal.
You had a grandpa named Pop, right?
He died when I was about your age.
He's very nice.
He's very nice.
Where did you see him?
In heaven?
Is this him? Is this the man you saw?
No, in heaven everybody's young.
That's very superficial.
How young are they? Are they like
I know, like
fetuses?
Are they babies?
So wait, if
are they
you
children? Are they toddlers?
If your child dies, are they like 25 in heaven?
No,
How
in
does that
heaven,
work?
in heaven, everyone is a floating sperm and a floating egg.
They're very
and they just
young.
kind of
then.
like orbit one another.
Extremely young.
They're a zygote.
Is this him?
Yeah.
I just had a funny thought. Like, what if all these
That's
Christian conservatives are like, I didn't come from no monkey? What if they die and go to heaven and God is a monkey? He's like, smashes them, throws feces at them.
That'd be awesome.
That's the best thing ever. Someone needs to draw
I hope heaven
that.
is real just so that happens.
One of the many artists in our audience needs to draw a monkey, like a bunch of fundies going to heaven and God being a monkey that's like throwing his own shit around. That'd be too funny.
That's a clip there.
We need some legitimacy. Throw Greg Kinnear in there.
It's kind of weird that they have Sanjay Gupta doing this because he's, you know, the medical correspondent.
This book was a huge New York Times bestseller, though.
Yeah.
But it's Sanjay Gupta. He usually covers medical-related stories.
Well, this is a medical-related story.
Oh, because he died.
The kid died and had a stupid fucking near-death experience.
Yeah, the kid had an NDE, a near-death experience.
And he went and everyone in heaven is young, and I held Jesus' hand.
Starring Greg Kinnear, and he plays Pastor Todd Burpo, whose son Colton came back from the
Todd Burpo.
I'm Burpo. I'm Tom Burpo.
How you doing? I'm Todd Burpo.
That's like the nickname you give the gassy kid in school. Hey, Burpo. Hang a sign on their back. Burpo. Hey, Burpo.
Back in Europe, they must have been like
drink some more soda, Burpo.
It must have been people who got drunk and like burped a lot. That's how they got their last name.
Plain visited heaven,
go.
and Pastor Burpo joins us now. Thanks. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Ben can't do it.
I want to get into some of the details here of this whole story in just a minute. But in that clip that we just saw, what was your reaction? I mean, you were what Greg Kinnear's character is.
Yes.
What was your reaction when your son told you that?
Well, I think when he could recognize a picture of my granddad that was taken back in the 1940s, it kind of totally takes away all those explanations of the drugs and chemicals causing his brain to play tricks on him.
Hold on.
No. All I have to do is say, is this your grandpa? And see them coaching him and go, yeah, that's him.
Well, then also the fact that your grandpa probably looked a lot like your father.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that too. I'm like, there's such a thing as family fucking resemblance.
Yeah.
And not only that, like, it's probably pretty obvious what outcome this guy's hoping for as he's showing this kid this photo. Like, where they're like, maybe there was like three. I mean, like, even if he's like, hey, there's three other guys in this photo. Like, which one's your grandpa?
I mean, yeah, it totally discounts like nonverbal communication. Like, is this him?
Is this him here? Yes.
And giving memories that he never had.
I showed him
that
a picture of
that
Vincent
he
Price
recognized
before, and he
of
said
my
that wasn't
grandfather,
him.
he had never seen before. So I was convinced that the only explanation for him recognizing that picture.
The only explanation. Really. That's the
so
only fucking explanation. There's no other possibilities. He if he recognized this picture, must have gone to heaven. That's the most likely explanation, really. You genuinely think, like, if this was a Muslim kid and this story was told to Christians, like, yeah, he went and he saw Allah and he found out Islam is the one true religion.
That was just Satan tricking
and
him.
he recognized a picture of his grandpa. Would any Christians be like, oh shit, I guess Islam is real?
No, because they think that Muhammad was fooled by Satan to begin with.
Yes.
Right. So I mean, like, a general rule of thumb: if your story wouldn't be convincing to you if someone else told it, then it's probably not that fucking convincing.
He had to meet my grandfather somewhere besides here.
Let me back up the story just a little bit for people who don't know it. Back in February of 2003, you think your son has a stomach flu. Turns out to be appendicitis, and his appendix actually had ruptured. He was very sick in the hospital. What happened at that point? What did the doctors tell you was happening to your son Colton?
Well, when they finally did a CAT scan on him and they put him in emergency surgery, he was so sick. I remember asking the doctor if my son was going to be fine, and he just looked at me and didn't say anything. But
it's a pretty shitty
in that
doctor.
surgery is where my son says he closed his eyes, and spiritually he must have opened them and then found himself sitting on Jesus' lap in that first surgery.
Oh, God.
I do wonder, as
Do you have any
again, from a
proof?
neuroscience perspective.
Did Jesus put like $1 in his?
Yeah.
In little Colton's belt buckle.
Yeah.
Yeah, here you go, buddy.
Dance some more for me, little boy.
It's on Jesus' lap. Yeah.
So this is a Catholic Jesus.
Yeah, it must be.
When you look at something like what happened to Colton, you think there's so many different things that are happening in the brain at that time. Memories that seem remote suddenly take on a significance. You see different sorts of images during sort of comatose-like state. Sort of many neuroscience sort of explanations, perhaps, for what may have happened to him.
Let's
Does
discount
that
those.
change it for
Those
you
are
if someone
nonsense.
says, look, here is a scientific explanation for what happened to Colton?
Well, I think what really impacted me the most is when I talked to Colton's surgeon, because when he started talking to me about things like this, I wanted to check his medical records, and I asked him, did he ever flatline, did he ever code? And I remember talking to Dr. Hallcyon directly about this because he was the main surgeon operating on Colton, and he was very quickly to tell me, oh wow, Colton's not my first person that has had an out-of-body experience, and while I've had people code, tell us where we were, who came in the room, what we did on him. Matter of fact, Dr. Hallcyon was very much not surprised by what Colton was sharing with him,
This is such
and
a
that was a
lame
surprise
appeal
to me.
Authority. Well, this
Well,
doctor said that it's plausible.
Yeah, I have secondhand accounts of what a doctor told me.
There are people that have had out-of-body experiences that weren't even near death. People who have meditated and
They can
had
actually
out-of-body experiences.
they can actually scientifically induce out-of-body experiences. So it really it's a documented neurological phenomena. It's not you're not actually leaving your fucking body.
Again, I appreciate you sharing the story. I think, there's always this tension, as you know, Pastor, between science and obviously personal accounts
Exactly.
are what they are. But I think it's a good discussion to have. I hope you appreciate the questions that I asked you, and I appreciate
Sure.
you being on the program. Thank you.
Why is he even
thank you
being,
for having me.
Why is he even being so nice? He didn't even it wasn't like he was grilling him like, so we all know this kind of bullshit, huh? It was just like, oh, so well, science. Science kind of respectfully disagrees with you. Oh, okay.
I just kind of love the idea that this book is a bestseller and like all kinds of people are like, see, heaven is for real because like a 4-year-old kid is told a story.
Dude, what is it with Christians and religions just exploiting death to make money off people? Because this is clearly what this is. Oh, he didn't know. He saw a picture and he knew. Give me millions of dollars now.
It's really just like, are you believing this because it actually makes sense, or are you believing this because you desperately want it to be true? I mean, come on.
Probably a combination of that.
Well, they also said he's a pastor. So
yeah,
he
I don't. But I
probably,
mean, was he a pastor before this? 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean,
he
like,
I think so.
yeah, I would.
Obviously, even if he wasn't, he was always extremely religious.
So he started with his conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, if this was like Richard Dawkins saying this, like, man, I don't know, my kid, fucking whatever.
Yeah,
that might be like, man, that's pretty crazy. But this guy, no, not really.
Yeah, consider the source.
And I mean, like, the evidence is just too scant. It's not like the kid came back and like knew all sorts of things he shouldn't be able to know. It's like, well, he saw himself being operated on. Okay, well, he knew he was being operated on.
Yeah, it wasn't like he described a battle his grandfather had been in, and he was like,
I know where the family safe is. Like, oh shit, there's treasure in this fucking whatever. Like, no,
there wasn't anything.
Just like he recognized. You recognize this? Like, yeah. Okay, that's not really much evidence.
That's not any evidence.
It's very scant.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the Dalai Lama has to identify, like, when the Dalai Lama dies and they're looking for his reincarnated spirit, the kid has to identify, like, 6 items that used to belong to the previous Dalai Lama. So that's even a higher fucking standard of evidence. And even that's bullshit.